Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to warmly welcome you to this webinar on career counseling and postgraduate higher education prospects, which has been jointly organized by DHS Sofa University's Department of Electrical Engineering, DHS Sofa University's International Education Resource Center IERC, and DHS Sofa University's ORIC, Office of Research, Innovation and Commercialization. We are very grateful to our speaker for today's webinar, Dr. Ayaz Khan, and we are very grateful to Dr. Ayaz for this wonderful opportunity to talk to students and to guide them about career prospects. I would like to give a short introduction about Dr. Ayaz Khan before I hand it over to the speaker. Dr. Ayaz Khan is a PhD and a clinical MRI scientist at St. Jude Children's Hospital at Memphis, Tennessee, USA. Dr. Ayaz has widespread experience of mentoring and career counseling, and one of his focus areas has been character building of students and providing them mentorship regarding higher education and research opportunities. So once again, we are very grateful to Dr. Ayaz Khan for having spared his valuable time and for providing us this platform, especially to students, so that they can learn about higher education prospects, about career prospects. So thank you very much, Dr. Ayaz, for joining, and over to you. Okay, sure, we can wait, no problems at all.
All right,
yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, I could not unmute myself from my end. Today's lecture would be, I'm going to give you just an overview. What would be the main focus of today's webinar? I will give you a very broad spectrum of food of thoughts. So it would be for career counseling, of course, and then higher education, and what it takes to really carry on for these two endeavors in your life. Topics are too generic, because it's probably going to be a 40 minutes long webinar, and then of course question answers toward the end. So do not expect that you will know every single thing. You will know every single topic, but not the finer details. Okay. Once you know what you would do, of course, the next lectures. Excuse me. Can you guys hear me properly? If yes, let me know. If not, I can be louder if needed.
Yes, you are audible, Dr. Ayaz. We can hear you.
Okay, perfect. And then, for instance, career counseling by itself is a very big topic. The reason we had to put all these words in these flyers is to catch the attention of every single person, if possible. Of course, we cannot do that. Second thing is, of course, higher education. Higher education has its own detailed topics. So it would be, let me just give you a quick list of things that you would be looking in. Finding the program, the university that you would like to pursue your higher education in, how to select it, what are the requirements, how to prepare a letter of motivation, your cover letter, whatever you call it, CV, interview, like so many topics, and every single topic has its own details. That by itself would be one lecture. I do have a YouTube video where I usually YouTube channel where I usually put all these videos. If needed, you guys can of course go on there and listen to those lectures where I have. I don't put too many videos, but whatever it's there, something that you can benefit from. So I have not started the lecture yet. I'm just giving you that what your expectation should be from this webinar, and that is food of thoughts. Do you really need higher education? If yes, then definitely start working on in that particular direction. If it's not higher education, it's more of like career counseling, then start. Excuse me, apologize. The weather has gotten me already. The second would be, of course, for career counseling. Then you have to start thinking in that perspective and start building your profile, your character, your grooming. You have to start groom yourself in that particular direction. So all these things I will cover. And what my expectation from you would be, at least you should have some food of thought, something to chew on, something to start thinking about from today's lecture. And it will take, let me give you just a very clear picture. If you decide today that higher education is your career path, your academic path for your career, professional career, you will start today. It will take you about an year, 1 saal before you get something, before you are somewhere which might be, something sustainable. Why I said 1 year? Because what it takes is not just the decision that I have to do higher education. It's where would you go? Excuse me. What would be the area of interest? How would you select the university? Then, of course, applying for university, preparing everything for it. And eventually, when you prepare everything, the university has to take 4 or 5 months to decide either they're going to give you admission or not. And then things starts onwards, okay? So it's a 1 year, easily 1 year long journey for higher education. Same goes for your career, for your career. If you want to pursue something, you decide today, just understand you have to prepare yourself to achieve that. Number one. Second, in my personal and humble opinion, you should take at least 5-6 months if needed to decide what would you do in your life. Once you decide at any particular career, any particular let's say path, you have to be like sure. When again thing changes, you sometimes make mistake, you make wrong decisions. You can deviate from it, you can change it, you can go different direction, 180 degree, all of the sudden, that's fine. But the purpose of this lecture is so we can prepare you well enough so you can avoid all those misadventures. Okay. I'm going to show you some slides because people like to see some pictures and stuff. So it's just become as part of habit. I am more of a very my personal opinion is, and my style is, I like very interactive sessions, so people can easily ask me questions and their concerns. But unfortunately, I have never been very successful when it comes to doing so. Unfortunately, in Pakistan, either kids are shy, they don't ask questions, or they're just not, they're not sure what they want, I guess. So it always, get to the same point. Well, that I have to show my slides, show them, get them started actually before they start asking questions. So the introduction is given. Thanks for the nice introduction. This is of course my title. I'm a clinical MRI scientist. This is an imaging scientist title in very simple words. And I'm also MRI safety expert. So any incident with the MRI, that we try to avoid. And you will see some of the slides. The hospital I work at, it's a cancer hospital for children, but the name is St. Jude Children Research Hospital, because they don't want just cancer. They want to be in a bigger umbrella of research hospital for children. It's in Memphis, Tennessee. The picture that you see in the background, let me see if I can take this thing off. So you can clearly see everything. So the picture you see, oops, it's called brain spectrography. So these are tracks of white matter in your brain. So this is a brain picture. This is the front of the brain. This is the top. This is the temporal lobe, which is occipital, sorry, which is the back of your head. This is, of course, then spine that goes down. All these are tracks. Different color shows the way the tracks are oriented. So it's left to right, it's red or blue. Front and back is green. And then right and left is red. So, you know, the orientation, of course, shows different color. And as the angle changes, the color changes a little bit. Now, the reason I'm showing this this slide is, or this particular image I put in the background is just to show you, or so you can appreciate how many people, how many different background experts has been involved to generate this one image. Computer science, okay, electrical engineering, electronics engineer background person, physicist, physiologist, radiologist, of course, biomedical engineer, and you name it. Even machine learning would be, we're going to be, people have already started using it. From our end, we're going to be using it as well. And then we have already started. We are already hiring people with the background that have machine learning expertise, so we can take this kind of image processing to the next level. Now, if you imagine, this is just one field, one area in imaging. You can see so many different areas then, but you can be an expert, maybe even a researcher. If not a researcher, maybe a programmer. If not a programmer, maybe a highly skilled worker. Okay, maybe somebody who can develop models. Okay? For modeling, you can go from physicist, for mathematician, even electrical engineering background, and again, you name it. Then the next thing comes in, who's going to implement this in software? Of course, then IT comes in, software engineers, computer science people, and then things go on and on and on. What at this stage, at undergrad level, you need to know is you have to build your expertise in the area that you like the most, be it programming, be it, let's say, now, of course, machine learning is a big thing. Maybe even in, signal processing, image processing, okay? And these are not just limited to computer science. Even electrical engineer, electronics engineer people can do it. You need just the basic information and the, playing with signal. With all these things, if another expert comes from different area, they start giving their background, what they do, what kind of people are involved. You will find so many different areas that you can be involved in the future. Okay, so one thing that when I was in undergrad, I started in 1997. I graduated in 2000. 1 year ago almost. One thing that we always asked naively, of course, that why we study so much math, why we study so much this particular topic, and now I know why. Okay, in undergrad you are exposed to way too many areas of engineering. Okay, so as a biomedical engineer, I studied physics, physiology, computer science, fluid mechanics, math. It was like every single semester we have to learn maths. Okay, and we always wonder why will we use it. Okay, today MRI, the area that I work in. So let me go to the next slide. Oops, come on. Or here, MRI is all about Fourier transform. If you have studied Fourier transform, okay, that you can change from one to the other domain, from other you can come back. MRI is all about magnetic resonance imaging, is all about Fourier transform. This is how we generate image. This image is not just you take a picture and there's a brain picture in the that you see with the MRI machine. That's not the case. MRI is not real time like ultrasound. You put ultrasound probe and you can see heart is moving, blood is flowing and all that. Unfortunately, MRI does not work this way. MRI has some kind of image processing. So when you start taking the picture, once you finish the whole scan, let's say the scan takes about 4 minutes. After that, it takes about, let's say 30 seconds, a minute, when the image starts popping up. Okay, it is not real time. There is some post processing, of course, of the computers, it's the computer system that is attached. which we call imager. It's a big, the cabinet, 2-3 cabinets where all these processings are happening. That happens there. Fourier transform happens from magnetic resonance imaging, where basically what you do, you have a spin, a magnet that is spinning that generates electromagnetic force. An antenna is there that gets that signal. So electrical engineering is there. Once you get the signal, you transform it from analog to digital. So it's analog sinusoidal signal that you have to generate, you have to process, you have to do so many different kind of filtering and you name it.
I think, Dr. Ayaz, your video and voice just stopped. So could you rejoin? So Dr. Ayaz will be rejoining shortly. There was some connectivity issue and our speaker will be reconnecting shortly.
Participants, please stay tuned. Dr. Ayaz is joining shortly. We have communicated and he has got certain technical glitches at his end. So he'll be joining shortly. So please stay tuned and do not leave the room. Thank you. Participant Dr. Ayaz has joined again. So please stay tuned.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, Dr. Ayaz, we can hear you.
I was not expecting this power failure, but that did happen. And I'm using my phone data. Let's see if that is really well enough. So I'm not going to turn on my video. So keep signal low. I would try to do my screen sharing again. If it's slow, then I may skip that part and just straight go. It will be, of course, unfortunately verbal then. But let's try it. Okay.
Meanwhile, I request all the participants to please fill the Google Sheet share so that we can have your credential. Dr. Ayaz, please continue. Thank you.
Yes, Dr. Ayaz, we can see the slide deck.
Perfect. Okay. So, where I was, of course, I was showing you, how the whole this image is generated. Fourier transform, electromagnetic field, analog to digital signal, and then of course the mapping. And I have no involvement there. Trust me, I do not do any such thing. My involvement comes when I play around with the parameters, how to make these images pretty. Okay, so we started. My expertise was neuro. Now I can do whole body scan. We don't do just. It's not X-ray. So it's just not the whole body. We do portion of it, like so from brain to neck, from neck to like abdomen to pelvic region, and then so on. We stitch them together. Stitching is also kind of a post processing that some experts from computer science, electrical electronics has to come up with. So you can imagine how many experts have been involved basically to do such kind of to generate images. And this is what my message to you guys is. Take 6 months and a year to decide what would you do in your life, and then build your profile. See where I am right now. It didn't happen overnight. All your teachers that they teach you, ask them, they will give you exactly the same answer. It takes at least first your 35 to 40 year of your life, like first 3-4 decades, to build your expertise. Okay, and I will prove you why it takes 3 to 4 decades, religiously, scientifically, and also physiologically. We will see all these in these slides. Okay, so just hang on and just pay attention. Do not take any notes, just listen what I say, and we'll get most out of it. I am from a city, so it's a very it's a tradition from Memphis city, and it's a tradition when you give a lecture, you tell the audience where you're from and what the background of that city is. So I took this picture one day from the parking lot when I was leaving my work in the evening. So Memphis was the capital of Egypt in the time of Pharaoh, and pyramid, of course, is very much associated with Egypt. So Memphis and pyramid are there. This is a bridge connecting two different states because we are just on the corner of that where two states are, next to each other. And this is the campus in the night that you can see. All right, so my story, the reason I'm giving you a little bit of the background is so you guys know how long it takes to build your career and how long it takes to be somewhere or be somewhere where that satisfies you. So I started in 1997 my undergrad in biomedical engineering at Sasha University, and that was the second batch of biomedical. Before that, nobody heard about it. I took this decision to pursue the undergrad degree in biomedical engineering, and I never regretted it. Trust me, I have been proud of it. The way they taught, the education quality was amazing. I have challenged people in USA with my undergrad degree that, okay, let's, I can pass this exam or I can do this thing, or I already have the education, what it takes, to basically qualify for PhD, for master's, for any research project. That's how confident I was, not because of myself, but I'm saying overall the education system. So whatever you study, and of course I do not know much about these current universities, so I'm not going to be making any decision. But what I'm trying to say is sometimes we do not appreciate what we have in Pakistan or local universities. We try to think that, oh, it might be better in developed countries, but believe me, sometimes we have probably better infrastructure in terms of the way. I'm saying, of course, based on the university and colleges and their reputation, it does matter. But you do get quality education locally. When you go to US or any other country, then you realize, hey, it was not that bad. Okay, I understand. We acknowledge that we may not have that kind of facilities in terms of expertise of the teacher, okay, or the facilities that you can just go and use anytime. But overall, you have a very well balanced program that you can basically build your career on. So do not fall into that cracks of, oh, the education system is not good here. No, it is good. It is well enough. That's why a lot of doctors and engineers from Pakistan go overseas and they build their career. And there are giants from engineering background, from medicine in Europe, in US, especially in US. I lived in US, of course, I can tell you, all these doctors, they studied in Pakistan, in these medical colleges. When they go there, they are probably best of the best there. So what I'm trying to say is build your career from the scratch, from where you're studying. Do not think that once you go overseas you will study. No, if you don't study here, you will not study there. So make sure that you take the good advantage here. Sometimes you may have much more power of using or utilizing labs in Pakistan than USA. In US, you have 3 great hours. They tell you have 3 hours to utilize this lab. That's it in a whole week. In Pakistan, we were used to go, at least in the university I graduated from, they would open the lab anytime after 5 o'clock when the university is closed, basically. And we never had any problem. You might have the same luxury in Pakistan, in other universities, utilize it. I'm emphasizing on this thing because a lot of student thinks, because I have been doing this thing for the past 20 years or maybe more. And this one question, one complaint that I have from every student is something that I do not agree with. Okay, so sorry for the whole, detail, kind of like a lecture by itself. But I hope that it gives you some kind of glimpse that what you're getting right now is probably, worthy, that you should acknowledge and respect it. Okay, so from when I went to US, I went for MS. And then eventually I got the opportunity to enroll in PhD right away within a semester. And then I finished from 2002 to 2008. Between that time, I did work as a biomedical engineer here in Karachi. And I never, tried to have any kind of like a gap, or I knew what I want. So actually, I just kept going on. In 2000, I graduated and I had a chance to go to Boston at Mass General Hospital, which is affiliated with Harvard Medical School, and I did my first postdoc there. And then after that, see, usually postdoc is postdoctoral. So after PhD, you continue some more training, just like medical doctors, they do residency or house job. This is part of, for PhD route, if you feel like you have to. But if you're smart, you can straight go become a faculty or researcher or, whatever you want. I thought I need some more extra skills, so I did that. And believe me or not, by 2010, I thought I need another postdoc, some more expertise in completely diverse, to diversify my skills. So my PhD was iron quantification in brain using MRI in neurodegenerative diseases. My postdoc was even more specific, only stroke, hemorrhagic stroke, in related research. And then I realized that I'm very much narrowed my skills. And then at that time, I took another, a bet. And I went for another postdoc from 2010 to 2013. And this amazing, UT Southwestern in Dallas, Texas. I did my second postdoc. And I think that was one of the best decisions that I made in my life. So if you see from 2002 to 2013, it is almost more than 11 years. I did PhD, and after PhD, I spent 5 years to build my profile. Okay. By 2013, I was 35-year-old before I got my job, the job that I'm doing right now. Okay. At the age of 35. Okay. And that was, I think, within between 30 and 40. So I was lucky that I did between 40. And of course, I was not smart enough or, genius enough to do it by the age of 30, but something that I feel things went properly. But if I ever had any mentor, like the way I mentor a student, if I was mentored by someone, I probably would have done earlier. And surprisingly, if I had any mentor when I was very young, I probably would have never continued to pursue PhD. PhD was never my plan of work. It just happened because it was fully funded. Without thinking, I jumped in, and later on I realized that I'm not a scientist. Now what I do, of course, it's something with science, and PhD is necessary for that. But I'm not a pure researcher. I'm a clinical researcher, or you can say translational researcher. Okay, so I will give you the difference between all these terminology in a bit. All right. Okay, so this is what I do daily basis. This is the image quality. I make sure the image quality is good. For diagnosis, this is spine. Your kamar ki reed ki haddi hai, that's what that is. This is the spine. You see here, this is all tissue where you can see metastases, which are basically tumor, unfortunately. And then this is what we try to see. So not good, good. This is part of my job. Then another thing we do is make sure that the scan is not very long. So this is the acquisition time, 5 minutes. 2.5 minutes, almost half of it. Image quality as good as this one. So this is kind of our, my responsibilities that I do every day. Some more introduction of new technology. You see all these vessels. They are bright after post-contrast imaging, but there is a lot of post-processing. That's where, you see so much different expertise being involved. So there is a somebody raised their hand, and I can stop and answer that question if needed. And the name says G. So whoever that is, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yes, whoever raised the hand, if you have a question for Dr. Ayaz, please go ahead.
All right.
Can I have this data set for machine learning? Just showed me the bone images for researching the.
You're asking if you're saying if you can have this data for some kind of post processing.
Excuse me, Mr. G, can you please rename yourself so that we can know your exactly what is your name, please? Please, Mr. G, rename yourself.
Sorry, sir. Can you speak again?
Can you please rename your name? Your name is.
Sir, my name is Zohaib Ahmed from
Please.
Mehran University of
Yes,
Engineering and Technology.
Yes, please rename yourself on the Zoom meeting.
So if I understood your question, you're saying, can you have these data set so you can run your machine learning? Is that your question is?
Yes, sir. I want to have these images for machine learning or deep learning.
So again, it's I mean, since it's not related with the topic, I will give you very straightforward answer. The answer is no, because this data is human data and it involves a lot of agreement between the two centers. If you need any data, the best option that you have is go online. There's a lot of labs. They offer their data to be downloaded. But if we have to share the data with you, that will go through a lot of different kind of agreements, and that will take about 5-6 months. So that would not be something that would be worthy to wait that long. So the best thing is go online. There is a lot of labs that offer free data set, and you can Google it, and you will find plenty of it. Okay, so I'm going to continue my slides. So introduction of new technology, of course, is part of the my responsibilities. And again, like I said, it involved a lot of stuff. So here you can see vessels imaging, and you can see that it involves the post processing that involves so many expertise. Again, from computer science to mathematician to physics to electrical engineering, electronics engineering, fluid mechanics, because this is vessels. Fluid flows through it. Understand? And I can go on and on and on. Okay, so even mechanical engineering can be involved in these things. Okay, all right. Safety is part of my responsibilities. Of course, these pictures were downloaded from Google. If you are scanning, King of a Jungle, it has its own safety issues associated with it. The picture you see with the chair, and it's a dummy. It's not a human being. These magnets are 60,000 times stronger than Earth magnetic field. This is 3 Tesla, and our Earth is 0.05. Okay, in Gauss is 0.0005. So that's how strong these magnetic fields are, and it can attract pretty strong any metal to itself, and that will be dangerous. All right, these slides I did on purpose. A lot of times students think if they just study, they'll be successful. The answer is no. You should have balance in your personal and professional life. Do not study 10 hours a day. Okay, if you are studious, you like to read books just for fun, do it, but that should not be part of your study plan. Have some kind of breaks, any kind of thing that excites you, anything that keeps you motivated to do any other do your job best. So let me put it this way: I work from 9 to 5. I have kids, I have families. I'm part of Boy Scout. I do, my responsibilities there, and I'm basically an instructor. So you see, I'm probably on 60 feet high pole right now, trying to, help people pass through this thing. I learned this thing. Now I understand you may not have these kind of activities in Pakistan, and I don't expect that you should do exactly what I do. What I'm trying to say is do any kind of activity, social work, be anything that keeps you motivated and that keeps you, refresh your mind. So if you like something, do that. Don't do anything that just because I'm doing it, your teacher is doing it, your friend is doing it. If you are good at social work, do that. If you are good at physical activities, do that. If you want to go to gym, do that. If you want to be a biker, cyclist, whatever, guitarist, do something that keeps you sane, not and helps you not go insane. Okay. This one slide, when I came in 2018, it was the only slide I probably had in my whole lecture, and I went to Larkana. I give a lecture to like 500-600 kids from metric to undergrad. They were all preparing for CSS. Of course, everybody was motivated in the library, huge library full of students. And I did whole throughout the Pakistan, this one lecture. And my only thing, excuse me, my only message to them was know yourself. What it means is if you know who you are, if you know your capabilities, it's easy to make your plan, either professional or personal or academic. Okay, you have to know not everybody will be a scientist, not everybody will be a researcher, not everybody will be getting scholarship, not everybody should get a scholarship, not everybody will be going for higher education. We need workers. We need people who can do computer. We need people who can do mechanics. We need people who can be a workforce. We need people who will be highly skilled. We need people who will not be highly skilled. They will be more of like, they not everybody is genius. Understand? Some people are hardworking and they achieve their stuff through hard work. So we need diversification by any means. Okay, we cannot have everybody working 12 hours a day. We need people who can come 9 to 5 and that's it. There are people who just want to do 9 to 5 job, get their paycheck and be happy. Let them do what they do. If you are one of those, no problem at all. Okay. But if you're kind of person who likes always something new, challenging, then of course you have to look for challenges and you have to prepare yourself. And for that, you need to know yourself. Okay. If you are not that breed, don't do it. Do not pursue higher education just because your friend who was with you from childhood got scholarship and all of a sudden you think, oh, I should get scholarship too. No, that's not a motivation. Or your mom tells you, oh, dekho khala ki beti ne ye kar liya, ya papa ki beta ne ye kar liya, and you did not do it. And now all of a sudden you get motivated. Don't do that. Okay. That is peer pressure. That is not motivation. Or if you just want to do just because you feel like I'm going to be called doctor, don't study PhD for that. Okay. What I'm trying to say is a lot of time people make mistake just because they have so much peer pressure. They have so many people, they give them input every single day. And then of course now social media has, gone through the roof now when it comes in terms of social, social pressure, this whole peer pressure, this whole, depression, stress, because what we think is we see our friends that we would only see them in streets. See, we never had this social media 20-30 years ago. So we only knew people in our neighborhood, and that's all the jealousy would come from. Okay. Now, even if your friend lives like, thousands of miles away, you see them, and all of a sudden your motivations come from there because you see them, they're doing very well, and all of a sudden you think you want to do it, the same way. And that becomes it's a positive jealousy, it's good. But if you're just doing it just because they have something that you want to have, understand that is not the purpose of your life. You are an individual with some kind of personality. You have to develop your skills based on your personality, and then you have to make some kind of contribution to the society. Okay, we have people who literally are labor. If you don't have labor, this world will come to stop. Okay, if those people are happy with their life, this is they know themselves and they're doing that. We need doctors, we need engineers, we need computer science people, we need mechanics, we need physicists, we need mathematicians, we need people who are entrepreneur. Okay, understand if you are under entrepreneurship is something that really gives you goosebumps and you think you have ideas, no matter what your background is, you can be entrepreneur. Even if you're you're a MD doctor, no problem at all these things comes from where? When you know yourself, you know, okay, this is my thing. I do mentorship is not, I was never taught in the undergrad as a biomedical engineer that you will do a mentorship. I built this thing over the year for like since 2000 or even more before that. Okay, the student that I have mentored, they are head of the departments right now in Karachi, in Islamabad, in other cities. Literally, they are head of the departments. Now I gave them just some kind of suggestion. What they achieved was based on their personality. They knew themselves. Otherwise, I can give this lecture to thousands of people. Do everybody get scholarship and some kind of what do you call it, message from it? No. Some people are confused. Sometimes I cannot help a lot of people. What I'm trying to say, unless you help yourself, you cannot be a successful person. So make sure from this lecture, whenever it finishes, you start thinking who you are, what are your capabilities, what are your strengths, and build your career based on that. Okay, you can change your field. See, I'm an engineer just because my dad told me so. In 90s, we only had two options, doctor or engineer. That's why I'm an engineer. We never had computer science, business, management, economics. Nobody cared about it back then. Okay, the only two fields were doctor or engineer. That's it. Okay, the reason when I chose engineering and have all this expertise, then I decided, well, you know what, I cannot just work on one research project. I'm not like that. So my current job is what I work with at least 10 different radiologists, 5 neuro, and the rest of them are body radiologists, and all of them have a different projects. I like when I have different projects. This is who I am. That's why I know myself. Okay, that's why I try to be successful. The same way you have to do it your own. Okay, now sometimes it takes some period of time before you get to what you want to do in your life, but this is how it works. Okay, so let me jump through some of slides and I will show you what exactly I mean. By the way, so I have these different slides. I'm even though I'm not a big fan, I don't like watch movies all the time. Some of my friends, they do, and they tell me all these stories. So this is one of the movie that you probably have, most of you I'm sure have watched it, Next, where Nicolas Cage can tell you what's happening in the next 15 seconds, and then he comes back and change the course of the history. You wish if you could do that. Well, you would not be able to do that. Okay, so life is not something that you can come back and change, but definitely you can make different decisions, take different route. For instance, you did engineering and all of a sudden you came to the realization that, hey, this is not your area of interest. Rather, you would be you're a good manager. And I have a student, I have several students, but this one I remember him. He came to me 4 or 5 years ago and he said, I am good at management, but I am not good at engineering, and I have an undergrad degree and my current job is all about management. And then he was applying for higher education. Believe me, he got fully funded scholarship in management or MBA. I don't remember what exactly his area was of interest, but he got fully funded, and his undergrad was chemical or some other engineering, okay, or civil engineering, and it was in US. Can you believe what he would have written in his letter? He wrote, well, I did my undergrad in engineering, and I realized that this is not the area, this is not something, and I remember a little glimpse of it, and that's how he wrote it. He did not write projects and this, he just wrote his story from his heart, and he got fully funded MS program. He came here and then he continued for PhD. Look, whatever degree you study, think about it all the time. Is this something you want to do for the rest of life? If not, what would you do? And this is something you have to constantly think, even if it takes you months, no problem at all. Okay, do not rush. Take it easy. Whatever you study today, whatever you do today, you will be doing for the rest of your life. So make sure you make good decisions. This is how everybody looks. What is the right career path? Okay, unfortunately, there is none. Sometimes you have to, mingle around with so many before you find out what exactly is yours, before you know that you have to pursue that. This is a cycle. Believe me, you know your values, you know yourself, you learn about yourself, identify skills, build some career options, link it with your with your expertise, you sometimes go back. This is who I am right now. After a few, so my current job, they give me responsibilities. When I master it, I start getting bored because I have built that skills, and then all of a sudden I'm like, well, what is next? And I start think of changing the job. Okay, so this did happen with everybody, and even if your teachers ask them, sometimes they get bored if they don't see anything challenging, or anybody at your family ask them, what do they do when they come to the point where they feel like, well, I'm not utilizing my full potential. You change your career, you change your job, or do something different. Okay. All right, let me go to the one slide that I really want to show you. Okay, this one. But all these pictures, I will come back to it. I just want to show you that one slide here. Okay, I hope you guys can see it. I don't know why I cannot take this one off. Anyway, is there any way I can take this thing, move from here? Why it shows constantly up there? Anyway, I wish I could show you because I really need to show you this top graph part of it, and I do not know how to do that, how to get rid of this. Okay, anyway, so let's just go quickly over this slide. This is where you are right now. Okay, from school to work, basically from university or whatever you're studying right now to the work. If you see 40 is where you see mid-career. This is where you establish yourself. Okay, exploration sometime comes here, or maybe sometime here. There is no hard and fast rule. It's just, you know, some picture I downloaded from online. This is where you get your maturity and experience, and that's how you change your career. Right about 40-ish, that's where you start who you are. That's where you are the strongest. Okay, and this is, I can compare it with what is my research, total brain volume. Unfortunately, you guys cannot see. Let me see if I can move this thing. Oh yeah, I can move it. Perfect. So if you see this picture, at age 20, your brain tissue is not as much as at the age of 30 and then even 40. So you are constantly developing brain tissue, meaning you are getting mature and experienced. So see, this is really showing what this graph is. This is unintentional. I downloaded this just to, you know, Google it and, you know, found out this slide, and I thought I should show. And all of a sudden I remember this research, and I'm like, hey, I can compare it. Definitely compare it, which you can see here by the age 40, you see, you are at the top of your top, personally, professionally, physically, and, academically. Okay. If you see here 40, now I can bring you another example, and that is, if you see your religion, okay, from Adam till Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, not every single, I should not say that, most of the prophets were given prophecy at the age of 40. Okay, till that age, Allah, he did what he did, he trained them. So the first 40 years were their training, and then they were given the responsibility of spreading the religion. Same thing here. If you look, the first 40 years, first 4 decades of your life is all about developing yourself. I am 42-year-old. I'm going to turn 43. I'm not bragging about it. This is the prime of my career. Okay. At this stage, if I go out right now, I can find easily any other job. I can switch job because I am at the prime of my career. When I get to 50, of course, then, you know, that's where everything starts going down. By any means, not exactly about 50 or 40. Again, this is just a graph I prepared. You see this block diagrams and stuff. It doesn't work this way. It's not like exactly at 40, things will change overnight. It doesn't happen this way. What it means is you see your career changes right about between 30 to 40 years. Okay. Then 40 to 50 years, a big change. And then after 60, you just maintain it. Okay. So what you need to know is, if you are somewhere there, 22, 23-year-old, do not get alarmed. Don't get crazy. Don't go insane. This is very early in your career. You have 10 years to build yourself. Believe me, you have all these years to build yourself. What you need to do is right and correct decisions. Okay? If you don't do that, that will make your journey a little bit lengthier. So you don't want that. Okay? Let's see if there are messages. All right, I will get back to these questions. Okay? Just give me some time. Anyway, so this image I showed, graph I showed you, just to give you a glimpse, regardless of professional or personal or your academic goals, you have, this is the prime time to build it. Look, your brain tissue is going up year by year till age of 40. You have 18, 20 years. By age of 21, 20, you usually graduate about 20 to 23. If this is where you are, you have 18 years to build yourself. Please do not underestimate your capabilities. Do not get depressed. Depression kills. Depression is a problem. And I had spoke this in other lectures, and I'm going to speak here too. If you take it so much on yourself, you will literally destroy yourself mentally, and that is the worst thing you can do to yourself. Do not get depressed. I know depression is very high everywhere in the whole world and in Pakistan. If you have some kind of such stress, depression, grief, please seek any kind of professional help from therapist. Talk to your friends who trust in you. You don't need to go to Imam Saab of the masjid. They are not trained to mentally, basically, help you. You can talk to them, just no problem, but get some help, even if you have to pay for it, even if you have to get some counseling. And that's what I have seen in my whole life. In the last 5-10 years, I have seen this thing a lot. Students will come to me anonymously or sometime openly, and they talk about the depression they are getting just because when they see their friends have achieved something and they did not. And this, or numbers, everybody want their kids to have like A grade and this grade and that grade, and then they publicize on the Facebook and they talk about which school their kids go to. All these things are peer pressure, and they can put you in depression. That is my whole point. Please do not get depressed. This is 18-20 years of a long journey to get somewhere where you will can make contribution for the next 20-30 years of your life. Okay, so I hope that gives you some kind of information. Now let's go back to some of the slides. Okay. Which I would like to definitely show you. Again, I'm not going to talk about the career counseling. For career counseling, it's enough. I'm going to talk about the higher education, but before that, some other funny stuff, and hopefully that will help you. So my research is brain aging brain. Previously, it's a color map of the brain image. What it means is we see how the brain tissue changes as you grow older. So from 23-year-old, you see how so much brain tissue in your brain. This is eye, by the way, just to let you know, this is nose. So this is the front of the brain, cerebellum. So you see tightly packed brain. This is a 78-year-old person. Look at their brain tissue. So much space, so much space, so much space. Look at this ventricle, so big as compared to this one, which means what? They are losing tissues. Okay, and you are somewhere there. You have the best, highest tissue in your brain, and you will develop even more in the next, some more connection in the next 10, 15, 20 years. Okay. So if I ask you, and of course you cannot speak, which one is the all these dark is fluid and everything else is tissue. If I ask you which one is younger, which one is older, I'm sure you guys can now make the decision. This is an older person because their ventricles are bigger. This is a young person because they have more tissue and less fluid. And of course, young versus old brain. This is the effect of aging. As we grow older, the areas that affects the brain with aging, all this blue area, green is more, grayish, and blue is a little bit less. And this is again another slide just to overemphasize brain of an old person and a young person. You see how much brain tissue loss has happened, and look how tightly jam-packed brain is. And this is where you guys are at this age. Okay, it is only 2% of whole body mass. So if you are, let's say, kg, I know it's very big size, but 2 kg will be your brain, and it takes 20% of your whole body that your body produces. So that's how important your brain is. Okay, please take care of it. And with that, what I will do is I'm going to switch to a different slide, different presentation. Let's see, where is it? And again, those were just a glimpse of a kind of career counseling. But remember, I did not make any choice for you. What I told you was, what you need to keep in mind is any area that you like to take on, you should know yourself, and you should know your capabilities. Based on that, you will take what career you should pursue. Okay, so do not just jump into anything. Rather, okay. All right. So for higher education, I'm going to keep it very simple. What is the best source for finding any position? By the way, I said PhD, but you can do the same for master's. So don't just say it's for PhD, it's for any degree program, or even for any training. It's not just degree program. It can be also for training. University's website. You can go to conferences websites. So every field has their conferences. So the MRI has its own conferences where usually they post different jobs, position and stuff, and you have to search for it. Unfortunately, it's not a click of a button. Of course, you have to search for them. Website for organizations, email list for organization. You can put yourself, you can add your email there, and they will send you all these updates. Group email list, of course, science magazine, and top of all, scholarship providing institute and organization. And if nothing can do, what you can do, you can go to different, well, the best thing would be here, Google it. Okay, and there are so many forums on the Facebook. Scholarship Network is one of them, where they post so many opportunities for masters, for PhD, for admission, for scholarship, and that's where we want students to start from. Okay, now, is it very straightforward that you can navigate? The answer is no. It's not a click of a button. I cannot give you a link. You go there and you apply. It will never work there, and it should not work like that. You will have to search for it. Okay, so when I say search for it, means you will be looking for different opportunities. And for that, let me just check if my internet is back. Well, not yet. It seems like it is. Let me just go with that. It should be fine. So what I was saying, that yes, scholarship. We have been told by many students that things are messy when it comes to the whole process of how to search for the right program, how to prepare for it, and all that. And the answer is yes. It is a mess. It's like a spaghettis. It is so much twisted and turned that it is hard to navigate. But this is my humble opinion. Most of you would not like it, but I like to keep it this way. Any student which is serious will go through the whole process. They will learn, they will come out of it, and they will be successful. If we make it straightforward, easy, anybody will like to apply, and they would not even feel what it takes to apply for this higher education, for scholarship, for admission. And that is not what we want. We want students to really suffer through the whole process, so they can respect what they will achieve in the long terms. Okay, few of the do and don'ts. These are, of course, few things that I have written, and you can even read my. You can basically read this in your in my videos that I have posted. But what I am gonna quickly go over, and then I'm gonna open the whole session for question answer. Is look, people do not even know how to write an email. Believe me, I get emails every day. People inquire about different things, or they will ask me questions, or they will ask me to review their documents. And it is unfortunate the way they write emails. You know how they write email? They will send a document and they do not even write anything in the email. Words of words. They do not even write the subject of the email. And they send me a document which they think they have written as a statement of purpose or cover letter or motivation letter. Okay. And it's a piece of junk. Okay, how do I know if a person do not know how to write an email 5 lines, how can he or she write in a letter? My response to them is, if you do not have 5 minutes to write me email properly, why should I read your document? You know what they respond? Oh, गलती से हो गया था. Oh, it was from phone. Oh, sorry, वो मुझे email लिखनी नहीं आती. I was taught how to write a letter in primary school, 5th या 4th grade में, कि वो आप प्रिंसिपल को ईमेल लिख रहे हैं, सॉरी एक लेटर लिख रहे हैं छुट्टी के लिए कि you want to be off or you want to leave early. That is, if you transform that into email, it is an email. Okay, so if you have an undergrad degree and you do not know how to write an email, my suggestion to you is go back to primary school, study primary school, middle school, secondary school, go to college again, and then study undergrad. Because if you do not have ethics, you have nothing. Your undergrad degree or master's degree or PhD degree will not give you anything if you do not have ethics. And that was my third point. So career counseling, higher education, and the third is grooming. This is grooming. If you do not know how to talk to the people, if you do not know how to use internet to learn new things, basically you have destroyed your life and you have wasted your life till now. If somebody say, I do not know how to write an email, Google it, YouTube video, 5 minutes it will take you. Okay, and use your brain. That's what I said. If you do not use it, you lose it. And that was the brain tissue I was showing you. People lose their brain tissue and they become cognitively declined if they do not use their brain. Okay, keep it healthy, use it. That is the main purpose of this lecture. If you just follow the herd, एक होता है ना कि भेड़ चाल, वो कर रहा है, वो कर रही है, मैं भी करूंगी, you will never get anywhere. If you want to stand out in the crowd, be unique, use your brain, come up with something creative, something different than others. Okay, आपकी email should not be copy paste from someone. Your letter should not be copy paste of someone. Anything that you write should be creativity of your brain. And let me give you an example. Like the best example I can give you is 5-year-old lecture, 2016 I gave. Look, even there I said, know yourself. This is 2016. I remember this lecture. I gave you in University of Central Punjab. Know your strength. Use your strength to overcome shortcoming. Better plan. You know, these things you have to know yourself, and you are different human being. Please do not think the other person did it this way, I will do exactly the same. So I was going to give you the example of when you write cover letter or statement of purpose or personal statement, whatever you call it, what happens is you read somebody else's letter and you start copying it. Bad idea. Okay, आपकी कहते ना, आपकी कहानी आपकी ज़बानी. If you write your own story on your own, that will be genuine, creative, and unique. Another example I can give you, if you watch a movie based on some novels, okay, and then read a book, you will always be stuck in that movie. Every time you read about that a particular character, you will think, for instance, Lord of the Rings, Gandalf, you would say, oh, this bearded white guy. He may not be exactly what you would imagine if you read the book first and then watch the movie. If any of you is good in reading, some people have this habit. They read a lot of novels, books and stuff, which is a good habit. If you read a novel and then watch a movie, Hollywood movie, you will never like it because your imagination were pure, your creativity. Okay, and then if you watch a movie, you're like, hey, boring. This is not what I expected. But if you watch the movie, then read a book, you will always be stuck. So वो आपको कूजे में बंद कर देते हैं. Same way here. If you try to follow others because they got scholarship, they are successful, do not follow me just because I did all these things. And by the way, the definition of my success is different than yours. What is success? Success is something that satisfies you. Okay, my satisfaction comes from mentorship, and I do it free of cost. I do not charge anyone. Even if I travel to Lahore, I pay for air ticket, I pay for hotel, I pay for my food. I do not charge anyone. This is my passion. Okay, this satisfies me. I do not charge for this thing because this is where I get my strength from. Okay, If you try to follow me, you may not be able to sustain financially. Do not do that. Okay, if you feel like you should charge for it, please charge for it. This is your time, your energy, your your efforts. You should pay for, you should get paid for it. I don't do it because I'm doing well, so I have never wanted to, but it's purely my decision. I can still make more money. Okay, so same thing goes for any other person. If you want to do something in your life, please do not follow other people. Don't try to become Sataridi because you think, oh, he did it, I will do it. No, he did it because he had the guts. He knew himself. He went through a lot of hardship. Go through hardship, become someone, and then benefit the society, but not overnight. Please take your time. Groom yourself. So three messages you have to take from home today. Know yourself. Okay? That is the most important thing for anything you want to do. You groom yourself, regardless of if you want to do studies, job, entrepreneurship, anything. You need to be someone who grooms himself or herself, and they know how to talk to people. Third thing is then, of course, if you want to develop yourself a career, do a proper planning. What would you like to do? If you are in a last semester of your undergrad, what is next when you graduate in December? What would you do in January? You should start thinking from now, and you should start planning for it. If you have not done it, do it now. Okay. If you feel like higher education is part of your long-term goals, then start preparing for it. Look for programs, look for their requirements, look for their facilities, faculties. What do they need? Do they need GRE, or they just need TOEFL or IELTS? Do they need some kind of research experiences, or they just need someone with undergrad degree? Look, undergrad degrees are not designed to make you scientist. So please do not think, if you do not have any research experience, you should not have any experience in undergrad. This is not part of your program. But yes, if you have done some good work in your projects, in your last semester project, that is more than enough for as a research experience. Okay, but you have done more, that is a plus. But again, do not just pursue research just because you did a good project in final year project. This is not a motivation or good planning. You should know what do you want in the long term. See, three things: who you are, what do you want, and how to get it. Who you are is, of course, know yourself. What do you want? Your long-term goals. Third then comes how to get it. Do you need PhD for that? Do you need entrepreneurship for that? Do you need some kind of experience for that? Or you just need some master's degree, or you need some kind of training? Or guess what? Maybe you do not need any of these. Then what do you need? You need some experience, some exposure to practical world. Once you achieve that, get that, then you make another plan. Okay, yes, I do need higher education. Oh, I don't need higher education. And the decision will come further on. So with that, I don't want to talk further more because I think I have said enough. I hope I have confused you, because this is the purpose of making you confused. So you can think, okay? When you are confusion, you start thinking, and this is exactly I want you to do. Think what I said, and then ask me question now. You can connect with me later on through Facebook, WhatsApp, or email, and I don't mind. With that, I will stop here and get any question that you have, and we can go from there.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ayaz Khan, for a very engaging session and for a very informative talk. And ladies and gentlemen, the floor is now open for questions. So if you want to ask Dr. Ayaz any question, please either type it in the group chat. I'll be monitoring the group chat, and I'll be posing your questions to Dr. Ayaz on your behalf. Or if you would like to ask the question yourself, please feel free to use the raise hand option, and thereafter you can unmute yourself and you can pose your question to Dr. Ayaz.
So there is one question from Tara Khan. She says, aside from motivation and interest, how much should one rely on the market trend while selecting master's field? So well, see, of course you have to keep all these things in your that's what I said at the start of my lecture, that I'm not going to be able to basically touch on every single one of things. See, so this is a very good question. Based on my introduction when I started my webinar. Yes, it's not just motivation and interest. It's about what would happen in the future once you have all these expertise. It's a very legitimate question. Okay, so let me give you an example. Machine learning was available even in 90s. Okay, neuro in MATLAB there is one thing called neural network. Okay, that was machine learning, and I do remember that one teacher who came who was teaching us, his friend came from US. He basically gave us some very good example how to, you know, find shapes of different stuff like apple, orange, based on machine learning back then. Okay, it's called neural network, artificial intelligence. But guess what? The problem was the expertise were not there. We knew it works, but we just did not have the capability in terms of running it. So you can say the processing speed was not there. 20 years or 25 years now, machine learning is everywhere, even in your phones. We have been using it for the last 10 years anyway with smartphone, or 15 years, but now we realize it's all machine learning. Okay, so if you do machine learning now, I'm just of course giving you a very generic example, where thing would be in the next 5 years. Okay, so where would the market would be? It's very hard to predict these days. Okay, but what you need to know, Sarah, is yes, you will build expertise based on what you think the trend is now. But as you build expertise, you will find more, direction, diversities, more branches, and you will, from them, you will choose something so you can basically pursue that. And this is how it works. You just do not stuck at one stop. You have to constantly look for adventures. And unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, I don't know, that the new world would not be like in 80s or 90s, where you just become engineer and you just build some expertise and you live your life. The next 35 years, you just do the same thing all over again every single day, and you go home. No, not anymore. You will be diversifying your skills. So the only simple answer I can give you, Sarah, based on your question is the motivation interest should be there. And yes, you will constantly look the market trend, but whatever you do, make sure your skills are diversified. Do not just do one thing all day long for the rest of your life. No, you will be constantly looking for adventures, different options where you can diversify your skills. So one of the example is, let's say you have a very good skills in computer science. Okay, you did some machine learning in one area, perfect. Now try change your job. Use the same skills but do different experience. Diversification. Okay, so for instance, you did some model prediction for weather, and you did some channel for 4 or 5 years, and then you got an opportunity in some company and hospital with some department, some lab where you can do signal processing for brain images. Do that, or maybe X-ray, CT, anything. You diversified your experience, not your skill. 4 or 5 years there, and all of a sudden you say, you know what, I did enough. Now I want to build something different, and then you're going to build some more expertise based on your skills, not experience. So understand, it's both experience and your skills. Constantly diversify them and learn more. Okay, machine learning will be so essential for everyone in the next 5-10 years. Just like we know how to use Excel sheet, Microsoft Word, everybody should know this is not a skill anymore, it's a necessity. In the next 10 years, believe me, machine learning would be necessity, not a skill. So we have to constantly diversify our skills and experiences. I hope that answered your question. And yes, you will have to keep the market trend in your side, whatever you do in your life, regardless of your background. Okay, sir, how an undergrad student overhaul him or herself who is committed to learn but not getting better environmentally, whereas he or she is connected concerned institute either bond So, see, unfortunately, you cannot get everything you wish for, no matter where you live. It's not just about US. In Pakistan, US, same thing can goes. Sometimes you don't get the environment. See, politics. Unfortunately, sometimes you don't get people who are friendly enough to work with. People who can sometimes demean you, you know, put you down, give you hard time. You have to unfortunately learn how to live with these people, because same people you will find in USA, in England, in Europe. So you cannot run away from that. That is one thing I just wanted to touch base. But overall, what you need to do is environment you cannot change or you cannot build. It's such a very early age or career. What you need to do is whatever is available to you, learn it, regardless of the quality, regardless of the facility and faculty. Because if you don't learn it, you will be a loser. Because that is the only option you have at that time. What you need to learn is the experiences of life. See, always remember, अकल जो है ना वो बादाम खाने से नहीं आती, धोखे खाने से आती है, ठीक है? और वो धोखे आपको कैसे पड़ते हैं? This is how it happens in your life. Okay, you will see what you will learn in such environment is what, how to deal with people, number one, and the best of all, you will learn how to make the best use of the minimal amount of expertise or मिनिमल अमाउंट ऑफ फैसिलिटीज. अगर आप एक ऐसी जगह पे काम कर रहे हैं जहां पर फैसिलिटीज नहीं है एंड यू कैन मेक द बेस्ट आउट ऑफ इट, बिलीव मी यू विल गो टू सम प्लेस वेयर दे हैव सो मच एंड यू विल इवन डू मोर. इस बात का इंतजार ना करें कि आपको कोई अच्छी अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलेगी एंड देन यू विल बिकम सक्सेसफुल. नो, डोंट वेट फॉर द बेटर अपॉर्चुनिटी. whatever you have in your hand, make the most out of it. Okay, so I know it is very difficult for you at this early age to comprehend, but try to make the most out of it, whatever you have right now, or whatever you can put your hands on. Don't let it go. Keep learning it, and you will learn the lessons of your life professionally, personally, and in many other ways. And just keep doing it what you have right now. That is the best answer I can give you. I know your answer is generic, so I have to give you generic answer. But if you ever talk to me in person, then of course you can give me details, and I may give you a good, better suggestion based on those. Okay. Any other questions?
Respected participants, please fill the Google form shared so that I have your credentials, and please ask another relevant questions. Thank you.
So, respected participants, if you have any further questions for Dr. Ayaz Khan, please either type your question in the group chat or please raise your hand.
अच्छा डॉक्टर अयाज, आई हैव अ क्वेश्चन. अगर एक स्टूडेंट बार बार अप्लाई कर रहा है एंड ही स्टिल फेलिंग टू गेट एडमिटेड टू यूनिवर्सिटी या टू गेट एनी स्कॉलरशिप, वो अपने आप को मोटिवेटेड कैसे रखे कि वो बार बार अप्लाई करता रहे, मोटिवेशन लूज ना करें? क्योंकि ये एक आजकल एक बहुत कॉमन प्रॉब्लम है लोगों के साथ कि दे अप्लाई टू 1-2 यूनिवर्सिटीज, 3-4 यूनिवर्सिटीज एंड देन दे स्टार्ट लूजिंग इंटरेस्ट बिकॉज वो डीमोटिवेट होना स्टार्ट हो जाते हैं. तो इसके बारे में आपका कुछ क्या ख्याल है?
And Dr. Ayaz, I would also like to add to what Dr. Bizzat said. In the current COVID scenario, there are so many deserving students who at times get a admission offer, but because of international travel restrictions, they are unable to avail that admission offer, and that can be one of the potential reasons for getting demotivated and depressed. So I would just like to add to what Dr. Bizzat said and your comments on that, please. How to avoid demotivation and getting depressed.
Okay. So the first one is, see, it's application is not a number game. Quality of application is more important than the quantity, number one. Second thing is how much effort you have to put. So if you saw an opportunity one night and the very next day, your opinion, you should not get it in 1 day application. Application process take about 5 to 6 months. Believe me, it takes 5 to 6 months, and I can give you the breakdown. Let's say you start today that you have to apply. You will spend at least 2-3 months just to find a good program that fits your needs, and your long-term goal can be achieved, or it can be a stepping stone to achieve your long-term goals. Okay, it will take 2 to 3 months, because you're not going to just look for one program. You're going to be searching it, reading it, checking their admission requirement, looking and reading their course outline, their courses, the content of the course, then what kind of faculties they have, faculty, not facilities, faculty, what kind of research or expertise they have. Then you go for facilities. It takes about a week sometime to just read about one university. Okay, on average, of course, when you have the list, then you can do one university a day, but it will take you 2-3 hours or sometimes a couple of hours just to read about one university, if you have that much time. Because if you're working and applying, you don't have that much time, and then of course your family and personal life and all that. Now, after 2-3 weeks or months, okay, you will have enough information to make a decision what is the best program for you. Okay, after that, then you read their admission requirement. Okay, let's see what they need, and then you start preparing the documents. Motivation letter should take, in my opinion, 3 to 4 months, or 3 to 6 months is the best of time. So the day when you start looking for the universities and start reading, start writing your motivation letter, because it will take you so many months to really refine it before you start sending it to some mentors like me. And of course, I read this on daily basis. When you write a motivation letter after reading to, let's say, 15, 20, 30 different programs, you will literally show that you have done your homework, because then you can write, based on my experience, my research, I have seen these programs, these strengths, okay, and why I chose this particular one. So the more you read about different programs, the more you learn about them, and the easy it gets to write the application or the motivation letter. Then the motivation letter comes in, then the CV comes in, then any other requirement. So when you fulfill all these things, it will take you at least 6 months just to apply. Then of course, the next 2-3 months, when they get back to you, then after that, if you have several offers, then you decide which one to take, and then the visa and all that. So 6 months, I gave you a very good ball game. Right now, USA admission will open in December. So if you are applying USA, you have 3 to 4 months to prepare GRE, TOEFL, look for different programs, what university you will apply, what are their requirements, your reference letters, your CV, your cover letter. It is a lot of work for 4 or 5 months, a lot of work, believe me. You should spend at least 2-3 weeks, months, just to search for program. Simultaneously do other stuff as well, of course. Okay, that's where I think most of the student fails. Okay, that is one reason. Now, sometimes you apply. I have students who applied 3 years consecutive, and then they got it. This is called commitment. If you think, and most of the student, unfortunately, some of them are psychologists. They say, oh, I applied so many programs, I did not get it. Well, I have never read in my life, or there is no Quran or Sunnah. If you apply 20, you will definitely get one. There is no such thing. You can apply 1,000 and you will never get one. You can apply just one and you can get it. Okay, this is not a number game. So that is another mistake the student makes. They say, oh, I applied so many programs. Were you really qualified for so many programs? That would be my first question. Okay, and of course the list goes on and on. I think the best and the most important one of them all is your letter. If your letter is very boring, very unrelevant information, full of stories, which is doesn't make any sense, it does not have the flow, the right information is not there, you did not read the instruction. By the way, the biggest problem that comes, and I think maybe 50 to 75% of mistake comes from when students, believe me, do not even read the instructions provided by the university about the admission requirement. Mark this word, Me and Wakar Beg, who is a scholarship network, a mentor, we spoke this before Eid, and we will do some programs on that. Students, the amount of students who fail to get scholarships, especially in Europe and some places, especially Italy, these days, because the admission process is open. There are so many opportunities in Italy. The success rate is very low. And you know why? What the reasons are? The student do not even read the instructions. I mean, it's just ridiculous. The instructions are very simple. Provide CV, provide letter, and the letter should contain such and such and such. They don't even read that. You know what they do? They ask their friends. दोस्त ने बताया था ये लिख दो. Well, you wrote it and you failed. This is the reason. So instructions, not reading instructions and following them. Okay, making things last minute. Number second, and the worst of all, their motivation letter. I read every day several of them, or sometimes dozen of them. Believe me, it's boring to read those letters. It is a copy paste of the whole CV. CV को उठाया पूरी copy paste कर दी. You write. This is how they write it. My name is this, which is already in CV. I'm graduated from DHS Sufa, which is already in CV. My degree is in electrical engineering, which is already in CV. My GPA is this, which is already in CV. So I can go on and on and on. They write the whole every data that is available in CV. They write it here. Why would I read it if you copy pasted the whole CV in text? Okay, that's another biggest problem. Your cover letter, your letter of motivation or statement of purpose can single-handedly destroy or reject your application if it's not well written. English grammar. Okay, in this era where MS Office can show you the grammatical error and punctuation error, people do not pay attention. You will be amazed how much, like one comma, like how this people write after full stop, after ending the sentence, there is a space and then full stop, or sometime the comma is after one space and after comma the next word comes in. Can you believe such a simple grammatical punctuation error I would reject that application even if I see one small mistake of punctuation. I know it's harsh, but this is how it works. You have a technology that you're not utilizing. Yes, click on MS Office and say where the grammatical error are, and it will show you. If you don't follow it, you will fail. As simple as that. So these are some things that a few of the points that I showed you where a student make a mistake and they fail, and then they complain, oh, humne to aise kiya tha, nahi mila. Well, you did not do it properly. So that is one. Of course, I gave you a very generic and broad spectrum. That was one of the first question. The second is, yes, with all this COVID, I have students who got admission and they could not go, and their visa process took almost 9 months. In one case, it will take almost a year. The visa was approved, but it was never released. Okay, and yes, this is there, but the best thing you can do is, COVID is not just Pakistan issue; it's a global issue. Keep an open communication with the university or the program advisor or the director of the program in the university or admission department. What is happening? And they will either defer your admission or give you the choice of starting your degree online before you go there. One of my cousin, he just finished his master's from China online. He only went there for one semester, and then he had to come back because of COVID. And now they gave him a fully funded PhD admission because he performed very well online in a very good university, by the way, in China. So China is not overall bad. I mean, some of the universities are very good. One of my students, she is several of them, they are studying online. One of them is from Fulbright, one is direct admission, and they are allowing them to study online before they will go and join. One of them, she's going in the next 2 weeks, and she's the one who applied 3 consecutive years before she finally got last year. And then the COVID hit, and then the whole visa process. And finally now from 2000, I met her 2016, started applying 2017, and now after 4 years, she will go for her PhD. So commitment is another thing. You cannot just apply once and give up. So please don't get motivated. If PhD is your destination, then Umar or Kamar ka koi taluk nahi hai. Don't worry that you have, these are just numbers. Don't worry about your Umar. Oh, meri Umar itni ho gayi hai, main nahi padh sakta. This is not how it works. If PhD is your destination, keep applying. I have students, I have friends who went to USA or other countries at the age of 45 and 48. I have a student, she's in America right now. She went 2 years ago to USA and she was 48-year-old. Her older son was 30-year-old. So she told me her son and she was used to go to university together. I was doing masters and he was doing undergrad. This is called commitment. She will finish her degree in early 50s for PhD. Okay. So if you think you have some life, look at her life. And I have another friend who finished when he had 6 kids and he went to USA for PhD and he finished it. Okay. So motivation, if you are demotivated after one time applying, I suspect you never had a motivation. Okay. It's a long process. Some people get it easily, for some it's hurdles, and this is exactly how it works. But those hurdles are coming from the world, it coming from you. If you have failed one exam, ask your teacher. You have 2-3 teachers right now. If you fail exam, there is only one reason: you did not study harder, you did not study enough. If you failed in scholarship, you did not prepare very well. Simple answer with the whole this long story I gave you. If you are failing in a scholarship, try harder next time. Do not get motivated. If you get more demotivated, believe me, you are never a student who should have gotten in the first place. एक साल अप्लाई करने से अगर आप लोग डिमोटिवेटेड हो जाते हैं, then आप next time अप्लाई ना करें. मैं आपको, I know it's a very hard statement, but this is based on my personal experiences. You have to keep applying. You have to keep doing what you do the best. If you know yourself and you think that this is the best thing you will do, keep doing it. Don't worry about मैंने एक साल अप्लाई किया, 2 साल अप्लाई किया. I have another student, and I have hundreds of stories I can give you. One of my students, he told me once that he is 32 or 35-year-old. He said, when I graduated, our financial condition was so bad that I had to take a job. 10 years I worked, and he worked in top institute of Pakistan, like I think Kahota, and where they make them, like all the army and this top research institute. He worked there, so you can say he was a smart guy. He said, 10 years I worked so I can establish my brothers. Now every one of them are working in financially doing well. My job before I started applying. Can you see that is called some strong personality? He quit his job, he started applying, and guess what? COVID happened. So he doesn't have a job, he doesn't have any offers, and now he's stuck in the middle of nowhere. So he cannot go back to job, and he cannot go anywhere to start. But guess what? He was so motivated. He says, I have watched all your videos, and literally he did, because every time I give him something, oh yeah, मुझे मालूम है, मैंने notes लिए हैं. This is called commitment. Like a guy with kids and family, he watched all my videos, and then he called me and he's like, ये मेरी confusion है, ये मेरी चीज है, and this is my plan of work. I talked to him last year March. Since then I did not talk to him, and I'm sure he's somewhere pursuing his PhD. This is what you call commitment. This is what you call strong personality. This is what you call motivation. Okay, just because you applied once and you're giving up, please don't do that. Don't give up. Keep applying. All right, so there is a question from Sarah. How to find the research program going on in a university and contact the relevant professor to accept a student in a master's degree. Of course, email, online. So the way it works is, I have YouTube videos, you can watch those, how to search for it, how to apply, how to write an email. The way you do it is, and you can also watch a YouTube video where I have said it how to search for universities and how to finalize a university. So you search for university related to your field, the area of interest, and then you shortlist them based on many things. One of the things would be, do they provide funding? Are their coursework relevant to you? The research focus of the professors. Okay, not every university offer masters in that particular. So every university would say electrical engineering in undergrad. Sure, no problem. But when it comes to masters, the specialization are in few fields. Some of them would be relevant to you, some of them would be not. So that's how you shortlist your universities. Then you come down to their coursework. Then of course, research focus of the professors. When you do all these things, you probably would have, let's say, 5, 10, 15 universities. Once you have shortlisted that many universities, then come which professors are relevant, you know, to your research work or your interest. Then you will, of course, start reading about them. Once you read about them, you will find out, yes, a person has research experience or research focus that I am interested in. When all that happens, then comes how to write an email and what to write in the email. Okay, and that's where I help you. So my help would be the first, search the universities, and of course I give you tasks, I discuss with you, and then when you narrow down the universities and the professors, then comes the email part, and that's where it becomes very specific. For instance, when I say specific means, it becomes in a sense that, let's say if the person is working in an area that of your interest and you have research experience, that is one thing. But if they do not have that research experiences, you do not have any research experience, you have to write your motivation. And the motivation would not be about, oh, do you have fundings? Don't ask any professor in the first email any kind of funding. Okay, you will write the email just to start a correspondence with them before you talk about your needs. Okay, so it's a long journey, Sarah. It takes time to finalize, to look for professors before you start writing email. And when you write an email, it should take you at least a week to write one email to any professor. You know why? Because you're going to be reading about their research focus, research interest, their current students. You may even contact them if needed. Their research papers. You will not understand the research papers, but you should read them. Try to understand their focus. Then you will write an email. So imagine if you do all these things, it will take you at least a week just to read about that one professor. It does not include the short listing that you have done in the last few months. Okay, and since you have read so much and you have done about so many programs, writing that email will be very easy then. Not a long story. You're gonna just write, what have you done? What are your long-term goals? What are your skill set? And what do you plan to do? And how you can be beneficial, depending on what the course of that program is. Sometimes you just said, I'm motivated. I'm looking to get admission in the institute where you are teaching, and I just want to touch base. If there is any opportunity, if I get admitted, I may work with you. So you might say, hey, you know what? Yes, once you are here, get touch base with me, and we'll go from there. That is a positive sign. Now that does not mean anything. They will not give you any position, but it means at least you have some correspondence. Sometimes they ask you, hey, you have done some work. Yes, send me your work. You send the CV, and in the CV it is written. If they ask for CV, if not, you can send them, let's say, your final year project, but not the whole project. Something which you have done and it was creative idea. Something like that. So this is how you start. See, your first email is correspondence just to get their attention, and then comes the documents. Do not send the documents. Please do not send CV, cover letter, your research proposal, all of a sudden to the professor. You know what happens? It goes to spam right away, because these days malware is so much that even I cannot open my personal email at my work anymore. I cannot open. I have to wait till I get home. And if you send me any document in my professional email, it will be, of course, blocked by the firewall if it's attachment. And if you zip it, definitely it goes to spam. So the same goes for any professor. Do not send anything. Once the course starts, then you can attach, because it's already open. The channel is open now. Okay, so I hope that that answers the question. Again, all these things are generic answers. The specific would be, once you talk to me, you give me all the details, and I can give you specific answers to your questions. Any other questions?
Are there any more questions for Dr. Ayaz Khan? So, yes, there's a question from Usman. He says, where could we find your videos? I think Dr. Ayaz has mentioned they are on YouTube. And if Dr. Ayaz would like to add something to that.
I guess Dr. Ayaz has disconnected.
Yes, I think Dr. Ayaz just got disconnected. Maybe he's going to join again. So, Usman, you can find Dr. Ayaz's videos on YouTube. And we'll just wait for Dr. Ayaz to rejoin
If anybody
before
of you,
we conclude the session.
if any participant want to see Dr. Ayaz's video, you can see his videos on a scholarship network Facebook page, a very famous Facebook page. His videos are being constantly uploaded on that particular page. Meanwhile, I request all the participants to please fill the Google form which I've shared, so that I have got your credentials. Thank you. Sajidullah, please conclude the session. I guess Dr. Ayaz has answered all the queries.
Okay, has Dr. Ayaz reconnected?
Sir, I guess he's not reconnecting, so please conclude the session.
Will he be reconnecting for some concluding remarks?
Sir, we'll be waiting for him like for 2-3 minutes more. I've messaged him on personal cell phone number, so I'm waiting for his response, sir. There's certain
Sure.
power
Sure,
failure.
I'll just wait for.
There's a power failure at his end, so I guess
I'll just wait for Dr. Ayaz to before we thank him for the session and before we give the concluding remarks.
Yes, sir, definitely. Thank you.
Sorry for this disturbance. I'm back.
No problems. Dr. Ayaz, thank you very much on behalf of DHS Ufa University's senior management, the Department of Electrical Engineering, and on behalf of all the students of DHS Ufa University, especially the ones who were part of this session, we would like to thank you for your time and for a very informative and engaging session, I must say. And there were some great takeaways from your today's webinar, especially where you said that akal badam khane se nahi, dhoka khane se aati hai. I think that is an excellent food of thought for students, because like you said, students should never be afraid of failure in their lives, and they are going to falter, they are going to fall down, but keeping oneself motivated, I think that was the summary of your session. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences, and for guiding students, and for counseling them on their future career paths and their future opportunities. Thank you so much, and that concludes the session. If you would like to say something as closing remarks, Dr. Ayaz.
Sure. Well, thank you so much. I hope students would definitely benefit from some of these points. And like I said, see, always remember, one solution does not fit all. So if you learned something from it, perfect. If you did not, always remember there would be other people who would speak. Listen to them. Get one take-home message from any lecture, webinar, and just contemplate, think that why this person said it. I have my experiences. Everything I said is my personal experiences, and of course, I cannot benefit every single person. Sometimes you might find some of these information very generic. Sometimes you find it very attractive, and this is how it works. You will hear other people, and then you see where the overlap is, and you will see most of these experts, most of the mentors, when they speak, there's a big chunk of overlap. You take the overlap, and the rest is all your personal experiences. I was glad that I spoke with you guys. Hope you guys can get something out of it, and definitely, I would expect that you guys should grow and glow in your personal and professional life. That this is exactly me as a mentor and all these your teacher they would want, because this is your success is our success, and this is something that gives us immense pleasure when you get to your final destination or goals in your professional life, and then become of course the source of motivation for others. So wish you all the luck.
Thank you, Dr. Ayaz, for the complete sessions. All the participants, if you want to see the recording of this webinar, you can please subscribe to our YouTube channel, the YouTube channel, which I've shared in previous chat. And also please like our official Facebook page. With all our proceedings, we will be having more webinars and more seminars if allowed on campus. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ayaz, and thank you very much all participants for joining today's session. That concludes this webinar.